Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Enam Kanvantam Aravindadalaya Taksham Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddhasundaram Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Andani Yasa Sakale Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Bhakti Kayanti Chirandaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. 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 Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai. जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय ललिता विशाखा जय राधेशा ललिता विशाखा जय राधेशा जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद 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 श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरु चरण पद्मा केवल भक्ति सद्मा श्री गुरु चरण पद्मा केवल भक्ति सद्मा वंदमुये सावधाना माते वंदमुये सावधाना माते जहर प्रसादेवा ये बाबा तोरिया जहा जहर प्रसादेवा ये बाबा तोरिया जहा कृष्ण प्राप्ति है जहाँ होते कृष्ण प्राप्ति है जहाँ होते गुरुमुखा पद्मा वाक्या शीतसी कोरिया हत्या गुरुमुखा पद्मा वाक्या शीतसी कोरिया हत्या हरण करिया मने आशा हरण करिया मने आशा श्री गुरु चरणे रते यैषु भूतवागति श्री गुरु चरणे रते यैषु भूतवागति ये प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा ये प्रसादे पूर्व सर्व आशा चक्षुदान दिला दे जन्म जन्म प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिला दे जन्म जन्म प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जागोते अविद्या विनाशयते प्रेम भक्ति जागोते अविद्या विनाशयते वेदगा जहर तरित वेदगा जहर तरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनर बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनर बंधु लोकना लोकर जीवना लोकना लोकर जीवना प्रभु करो दया देव मोहे पादो छाया प्रभु करो दया देव मोरे पादो छाया दया गुच्चु श्रीभुवाना वेदेगा गुच्चु श्रीभुवाना श्रीला प्रभुपाद पतित पावना जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 श्रील प्रभुपाद गुरु पूजा की जय। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत સ્વામી નિત્ય નામીને નમસ્તે સરસ્વતી દેવે ગૌરવાણી પ્રચારિણે નિર્વિશેષ શૂન્યવાદી પશ્યતા દેશતારિણે જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ ચૈતન્ય પ્રભુ નિત્યાનંદ શ્રી અદ્વૈત ગદાધર શ્રીવાસાદિ ગૌરભક્ત વૃંદ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Gaur.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
But she should be there.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Hari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo, bolo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Om Tat Sat. Dhanyavad. How are you, sir? Good.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. जाएंगे मेरा 9:30 बजे क्लास है, दूसरा क्लास ऑनलाइन। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन, यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Radhe Sham, Jaya Radhe Sham, Jaya Radhe Sham, Jaya Radhe Sham. Jaya Gaurani Thai, Jaya Gaurani Thai, Jaya Gaurani Thai, Jaya Gaurani Thai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Srila Gurudev. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततं जयत्मुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। देशकालपृथग्द्रव्यम् मन्त्रतन्त्रार्तिजोऽग्नयः देवता यजमानश्च क्रतुधर्मश्च यन्मयः तं ब्रह्म परमं साक्षात् भगवन्तं अधोक्षजम् मनुष्यदृष्ट्या दुष्प्रज्ञा मर्त्यात्मानो न मेनिरे। देशकालपृथग्द्रव्यम् मन्त्रतन्त्रार्तिजोऽग्नया देवता यजमानश्च कर्तुर्धर्मश्च यन्मयः तं ब्रह्म परमं साक्षात् भगवन्तम् अधोक्षजम् मनुष्यदृष्ट्या दुष्प्रज्ञा मर्त्यात्मानो न मेनिरे। Please recite. Mataji's. Deshaha, the place. Kalaha, time. Prathak dravyam, particular items of paraphernalia. Mantra, Vedic hymns. Tantra, prescribed rituals. Ritvijaha, priests. Agnaya, sacrificial fires. Devataha, the presiding demigods. Yajamanaha, the performer of the sacrifice. Cha, and. Yat, whom. Maya, constituting. Tam, him. Brahma Paramam, the Supreme Absolute Truth. Sakshat, directly manifest. Bhagavantam, the personality of Godhead. Adhokshajam, who is transcendental to material senses. Manushya Drishtya, seeing him as an ordinary man. Dushprajna, perverted in their intelligence. Martya Atmanaha, falsely identifying themselves with the material body. Namenire, they did not properly honor. Translation and purport. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Although the ingredients of the sacrificial performance, the place, time, particular paraphernalia, mantras, rituals, priests, fires, demigods, performers, offering, and the as yet unseen beneficial results are all simply aspects of his opulence. The Brahmanas saw Lord Krishna as an ordinary human because of their perverted intelligence. They failed to recognize that he is the supreme absolute truth. The directly manifest personality of Godhead, whom the material senses cannot ordinarily perceive. Thus, bewildered by their false identification with the mortal body, they did not show him proper respect. Purport. The ritualistic Brahmanas could not understand why the sacrificial food should be offered to Lord Krishna, whom they considered an ordinary human being. Just as a person with rose-colored glasses sees the entire world as rose-colored, a conditioned soul with mundane vision even sees God himself as mundane and thus loses the opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead. Janmadiyasya yatanvayaditarata sharteshva abhignya swarat tene brahmaradhayadi kavaye muyanti yat suraya tejo vari mradam yatha vinimayo yatra tri sargo mrusha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamastavastu shivadam tapotrayan moolanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute Kim Va Pararishvara Sadyo Radya Vridya Atra Kritibhi Sushushubhistakashanat Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam Shukamukhadam Mritaram Vasanyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuravo Rasika Bhuvibhavuka Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramanandamadhavam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Pasyat Deshatarine Nityanandamaham Naumi Sarvanandakaram Param Harinama Pradam Devam Avaduta Shiromanim Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Hemamba Divyachavisundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Panchatattvatmakam Krishna Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagat Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shiradha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I want to sincerely thank Dharmatma Prabhu for giving me a chance to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. I was not actually planning to make it up, but he forced me to come. So I'm very grateful to him that he is engaging me. He's my very good friend, and he's kindly engaging me in speaking Harikatha. I'm very thankful to him and the management. Hare Krishna. Is this okay? Hare Krishna. So let us try to help first understand the summary of the previous verses of the previous chapter to understand this particular subject matter which we are discussing. Please forgive me if I cough in the middle because I'm not keeping well. So Lord Krishna, surrounded by his coward friends, accompanied by brother Balramji, he went a good distance away from Vrindavan for herding the cows. And when the sun's heat became intense, Lord Krishna saw that the trees were acting as an umbrellas by giving them shade. And thus, he started speaking to his friends. He said, "O Stoka, O Stoka Krishna, O Amshu, O Sridham, Subal, O Arjuna, O Vishala, O Vrishabha, O Jasvi, O Devabrasta, O Varupata, O Varthapa, just see these greatly fortunate trees whose lives are completely dedicated for the benefit of others. Even while tolerating the wind, rain, heat and snow, they protect us from all these elements." Shripad Siddhara Swami, he is saying that Krishna is actually planning to take them, is going to request them, now go to the Brahmanas. But he is preparing them now. He is saying that, he is saying to them that look at these trees who are more merciful. You are going to meet the Brahmanas now and they are not going to be merciful on you. So Krishna, Sripad Siddhara Swami is saying that Krishna is actually, through this glorification of the trees, is actually indicating that the trees are much more better than those Brahmanas. Krishna is saying, just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful. Their behavior is just like that of great personalities. Anyone who comes under a shelter of a tree never goes disappointed. These trees fulfills one desires with their leaves, flowers, fruits, and so many different things they provide us. Now it is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others. Especially as devotees, we have a very superior role. A Vaishnava is always determined to understand the absolute truth and to have his senses under control. Vaishnavas like Prahlad Maharaj, they possess good qualities like peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge and religiousness. So Vaishnava is always well-wisher to everyone. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Dhira, dhira, jana, priya, priya, karo. So they were the friends of, they're very popular because they were good, they had a good relation with gentle people and also with some rough peoples. So they shared a good relation with both of them. A Vaishnava must be equal to everyone, regardless of one's position. A Vaishnava should be like Paramatma. Our acharyas, they're saying that they're like Paramatma. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridayesha arjuntisha. Paramatma does not hate anyone. Indeed, it is expected, the Lord is expecting us that we should also become friends of everyone. So, a Vaishnava never refuses to do welfare activities for others. So, this moving among the trees, whose branches were very low by their abundance of twigs, fruits, flowers and leaves, Lord Krishna came to the river Yamuna. And the cowherd boys there drank the sweet water of Yamuna. And the cowherd boys also encouraged the so many different cows also to go and drink the clear and crystal clear water of Yamuna. Then the cowherd boys began herding the animals nearby the forest of Yamuna. But as soon as they became afflicted by hunger, they started requesting Krishna and Balaram. Now Srimad Jiva Goswami, he explains that the cowherd boys were not concerned about their hunger. They were concerned about Krishna Balaram's hunger. So when they said that they are hungry to Krishna Balaram, they cared for Krishna and Balaram, that Krishna Balaram might be hungry. So, but in their name, they proposed this, that we are hungry and please make some arrangement. Oh Rama, Rama, we are being harassed by hunger. You should do something about it. So the cowherd boys were actually, were saying that Krishna, you are the subduer of all the demons. Why don't you subdue this demon of hunger? Why don't you arrange something for us? So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said, my dear boys, please go to the sacrificial arena where the Brahmanas who are learned in Vedic injunctions are performing Angirasa sacrifice to promote themselves to the heavenly planets. So you should go there and simply request them some rice, some food. But they said, what should we say to them? You just say them, you should tell our names. But first tell Dau's name, Balaram's name. Because he's a Kshatriya, I am a Vaishya. So they'll be happy to give something to Dauji. They might hesitate to give it to me. So, Lord Krishna encouraged his friend to go and request for charity without being embarrassed. Sometimes people, they hesitate to beg for the Lord. But you should understand, even the great magistrate like Bhakti-yoga Thakur, he went and begged 1 rupee to build the Yoga Pit temple. So one should not be shy or embarrassed to ask for charity for the service of the Lord. The boys were hesitating. How can we approach such elevated Brahmanas? The Brahmanas were highly elevated. And they are simple, coward boys. So in case the boys felt that no right to personally approach the Brahmana, the Lord told them that mention our names. Balaram and Krishna. So thus, instructed by the Supreme Lord, the cowherd boys went and they submitted their request. They went there, they saw the when they went there, they saw the hundreds of brahmanas are sitting there, they're performing the yajna, fire sacrifice. And they went and they offered their prostrated obeisances to all of them. They are associates of the Lord. And these are the brahmanas who are engaged in rituals. But see the respect they are giving to the brahmanas. So we wish, so the coward boy said, "Oh, earthly gods." The brahmanas are the earthly gods, they are most worshipable. "Please hear us. We are the coward boys, we are come here to execute the order of Krishna and Balaram. And we have been sent here to ask something from you. Please acknowledge our arrival." They were not even looking at them. The brahmanas neglected them to not even look at them. So that's why they were saying, "Kindly acknowledge our arrivals, we are here." When Krishna and a few boys, when they went in the meeting where they were planning how Indra Puja should be done, they were actually trying to gain attention of the superiors, especially Nanda Baba. And Nanda Baba, it took a while for Nanda Baba to realize that Krishna is actually in this meeting, in this sabha, to understand what are we doing. Because initially they were trying to ignore them. "Just go away, your kids, just go away." But no, Krishna says, "No, I want to know what's going on." He emphasized, "No, you tell me in the details, so that if you don't tell me now, how will I perform in the future all these services? So you tell me things in detail." So here, when the coward boys came, they were actually being ignored by the brahmanas. They're not paying attention to them. But to get their attention, they're saying Lord Rama and Lord Achyuta are tending the cows nearby. And they are hungry. And they want that you should give them some food. Therefore, a brahmana is the best of the knower of religion. If you have faith, please give some food to them. Offer some bhoga. The boy said, "Please give some rice." And the brahmanas replied, "Krishna and Balaram are not brahmanas. We cannot give until the senior brahmanas here, they have eaten, we cannot give you." And the coward boy said, "But Krishna and Balaram are hungry." Of course, now this coward boys, they are getting disturbed a bit. That they said no. You go with a lot of expectations to someone. Like Devatas, they went with a lot of expectations to Dadichi Rishi. The Dadichi will immediately give them the body. First of all, when Indra, he was been troubled. He was been troubled of Vritrasur. So Indra was thinking, "Indrari vyakulam loke mrudayanti yuge yuge." Whenever I am in trouble, I go to Krishna and Krishna takes incarnation. Life is so easy. What is the problem? Vritrasur is troubling. Let us all go to Lord Vishnu. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karanam will pray from the shore of Shwetadeep. And the Lord will come, will take incarnation and will try to save us. When the Lord appeared this time, the Lord said, "I cannot help you." He said, "Lord, he is the most powerful of all the demons, Vritrasur. You should come and kill him." And the Lord said, "I cannot." But then, who will help me? Dadichi. And Indra remembered, Dadichi was the one whose head was once cut off by Indra. And Krishna is sending Indra to Dadichi Rishi. And asking for what? Asking for charity. Charity of what? His body. And Dadichi initially refused. So here the boys, they are going and asking for rice. And they are saying that you know the Vedic principle. What is the Vedic principle? The Brahmanas asked. Anyaksya kshuditam patram, food should be given to those who is hungry. So saying the Brahmanas unfavorably inclined and not saying anything. So the boys become a little upset. The boys said that if you have faith in Krishna Balaram, then say yes and give it to us. And if you don't have, say no and we'll go back. But say something. Your silence is not proper. So when the Brahmana did not respond to the initial request, the boys started actually teasing them. They started saying that you are dharma vittamaha. Means you know actually what is dharma and adharma. But actually they were saying that you don't know actually what is dharma. Vittamaha. You don't know anything what is dharma. Krishna and Balaram, they are waiting and you should be serving them. And the boys were saying that they were trying to teach them some various technicalities of rituals. The boys were trying to guide the Brahmanas, and that made them more upset. And the Brahmanas actually, they refused to pay any heed to these boys. And indeed, they are full of so the boys said that all of you are actually fools. You don't know what is dharma. Krishna and Balaram, they are asking for food and you are not giving them. So those Brahmanas were knowledgeable of scriptures, but why did not they respect Krishna and Balaram? It's very important to know. Actually, the Brahmanas did not know scriptures. Those Brahmanas who were doing there, they did not know scriptures. Rather, they were ignorant in realizing and imparting scriptures. Shukdev Goswami, he says that they were actually performing yajna for heavenly planets, for aspiring to get into heavenly planets. They were not performing out of devotion. So the Brahmanas thought themselves advanced, Vrindavaninaha. But actually, they were only advanced in age, Vriddha, not in their intelligence. They're saying, Uchasana sa Pandita. Whoever sits on the big asana is a Pandita. It's not like that. So the Brahmanas were thinking they are the knower of everything, but actually they did not know anything. So the Brahmanas ignored the boys, thinking Krishna to be an ordinary human being. And the boys returned disappointed. But when the boys returned, Krishna sent them again. But this time, he sent them to the Brahmanas' wives. And Krishna told them that these ladies, they know about my glories. But it's how? How they know? The boys asked, how do they know? And Krishna said that these ladies have heard about my transcendental activities and they're very attached to me. But they were saying, if the husband is like this, imagine the wife. It's going to be the same thing. No. These wives are thousands and thousands times superior than these Brahmanas. Because they know me. These Brahmanas, they don't know me. But these wives of the Brahmanas, they know me very well. They heard my glories. They are my devotees. Acha, should we go? Are you sure they're going to give us something? Yes, they will give you everything. Just inform them. Just go and inform them that I am here and they will come running. Acha, we thought that the Brahmanas will come running. But they did not come. So as soon as they learned so according to Sripad Siddhar Swami's, according to Srila Sripad Siddhar Swami, the husband were not aware that the wife were actually devotees of the Lord. Because the wives have occasionally heard about the Lord's name, fame, pastimes from the flower ladies of Vrindavan. So when Krishna used to perform pastimes, those glories were broadcasted by different people, especially the sadhus and the so many Adivasi girls who were serving in the forest, or the flower ladies. They all used to see Krishna's pastimes and they used to share it with others. These days sharing happens through WhatsApp and Facebook and everything. Those days the sharing was happening through, they were actually broadcasting the glories. They used to travel to different places and they used to say each and every house, they used to go and they used to narrate the stories and pastimes of Krishna. So the Brahmanas, when the Brahmanas gradually, they will realize that their wives were devotees, they were very astonished that when did they get a chance to hear, and when did they have this realization so advanced that they were so convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and they have surrendered to the Supreme Lord. So, the Brahmanas were very astonished seeing the devotion of his wives. The Prahlad Maharaj was asked by his father to say something when Hiranyakashipu picked up Prahlad Maharaj in his lap. He asked him that, tell me whatever you have learned from your spiritual masters. So at that time, Prahlad Maharaj narrated the instructions which he heard from his Gurudev, Srila Narad Muni, in his womb. And he remembered those instructions, that was narrated. He did not narrate what the Shanda and Amarka taught them. So this is the symptom of pure devotional service. Bhakti pareshanu bhava varaktir anyatracha. A pure devotee is interested only in devotional service, not in material affairs. So to execute devotional service, one should always remain engaged in hearing and chanting of the Lord's holy name, pastimes, form, activities. These wives of Brahmanas, they also heard about the glories of the Lord from other devotees. They also used to hear, understand, and also broadcast it with others. So they were also hearing and chanting. Chanting doesn't mean only chanting of the holy name. Chanting also means broadcasting the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So today's subject matter of our discussion is Shravan and Kirtan. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says that Shravan refers to giving oral reception to the holy name and descriptions of the Lord's form, qualities and pastimes as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita and similar authorized scriptures. After orally receiving such messages, one should memorize these vibrations and then try to repeat them. One does not have to be a scholar in Sanskrit or to glorify the Supreme Lord. No. One should, to the best of his ability, he should try to engage his senses in the service of the Lord. And one of the ways is broadcasting the glories of the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada Ji, our founder Acharya, he went to the Western world. And what did he do? He broadcasted the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He did Kirtan and he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad-Gita to the devotees. And the Lord's glories, the Lord's name, fame, pastimes are so powerful that when it enters the ears of conditioned living entity, they develop love for Krishna. And when we are fortunate to hear from the mouths of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada Ji, which all the devotees, they were fortunate to hear from Prabhupada Ji, the glories of the Supreme Lord, they were convinced and they became devotees. One's sincere endeavor to perform these 9 processes of devotional service is technically called bhakti. One should not aspire for the results of pious activities, but one should dedicate fully and then act piously. One should fully dedicate to the service of the Supreme Lord without having any desires for karma kanda or jnana kanda. One should take shelter of the devotional service. One should act for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, not for the satisfaction of own senses. That is the meaning here which our acharyas have said, Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanusheelena bhaktiruttama. So, one should render transcendental loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead for Lord's pleasure, for giving pleasure to the Supreme Lord, and not desiring any material profit or any material gain, or taking shelter of fruitive activities, or taking shelter of philosophical speculations. So that is Rupa Goswami's definition of pure devotional service. We did an exercise recently in Bhagavad Mahavidyalaya, we tried to, in this shloka, we tried to remove one word from the shloka and try to see if all the remaining verses, how will it have any difference in the verse. And surprisingly, when each one word we removed, the whole verse had no meaning. So every word, in every letter in this verse, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadya Namritam Anukulana Krishna Rushilana Bhakti Uttama is perfect. This is the shloka where the various acharyas in different lines, they appreciate Gaudiya Vaishnavas because of this one shloka of Sri Rupa Goswami. This is Rupa Goswami Pada's composition, and it is perfect. Even this verse is been used by the various other sampradayas to establish bhakti, anala devotion. So Gopal Tapani Upanishad says that the word bhakti means engagement in the devotional service, not for anyone else but for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. The Upanishad also describes that bhakti is offering of the devotional service unto Supreme Lord. And to perform devotional service, one should be free from the bodily conception and aspirations to be and to aspire for the heavenly planets. One should be free from all these things. When we are investing time for devotional service, when already chanting, already hearing classes, reading Bhagavatam, so why have these aspirations for fruitive activities and material enjoyment? We should pray to the Supreme Lord that let all these desires can go away from our hand, from our heart. We should simply work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. And this is bhakti. By hearing, one can easily understand Krishna. We can put all our efforts in reading Srimad Bhagavatam throughout, day in and day out. We can do Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, Bhakti Sarabhauma. But by hearing from senior devotees, from devotees whose life is Srimad Bhagavatam, from hearing from those devotees, we are very easily able to understand Krishna. And then when under their guidance, when Shastra are read, then the scriptures also, Srimad Bhagavatam also reveals itself to us. Srimad Bhagavatam is a person. It has to reveal itself to us. So that is only possible when we take shelter of a spiritual master. So Ajamil, he also was on a deathbed. Throughout his life, he was engrossed in sense gratification. But at the end of his life, by knowingly or unknowingly chanting of the holy name, he got the association of Vishnudutas. And from the lips of Vishnudutas, they heard the principles of Bhagavad Dharma. There is ordinary religious principles, and then there is transcendental religious principle. We should know this difference. When Yamadutas were capturing Ajamil, they were capturing based on the principles of ordinary religious principles, ordinary dharma which they were taught by Yamarajji. So Vishnudutas came there because Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord. And they stopped Yamadutas from taking away Ajamil, and Yamadutas were surprised. And Yamadutas were asked by Vishnudutas, what is dharma? So they explained dharma as per their understanding. But Vishnudutas completely condemned them and said that you have no understanding of dharma, because Ajamil is not Duratma, Ajamil is Mahatma. I said, Ajamil is Mahatma? How? Check our records, all the sinful activities he has done. Said, that is all gone. But how? By chanting the holy name of the Lord. And then they explained the transcendental religious principle, the Bhagavad Dharma, to the Yamadutas. And that was heard by Ajamil. Ajamil heard the Bhagavad Dharma Siddhanta, and he got convinced. And after the Vishnudutas left, he went to Haridwar and took association of sadhus, and he perfected his life. So hearing, very important aspect. By hearing, Ajamil was able to get convinced, and he understood. Rukmini Devi, she never saw Krishna. She grew in Maharashtra, but she never saw Krishna. She always heard about Krishna. Her father was a devotee of Brahmanas. So he used to invite so many brahmanas to their home. So a lot of brahmanas, a lot of sages used to come to Kaundanapur. Kaundanapur is a place where Rukmini was staying. And Rukmini heard about Krishna's activities, name, form, pastimes from personalities like Narada Muni and others. And she got convinced about that. Hearing. She heard and she got so much convinced that she wrote a letter to Krishna saying, if you are on the planet, who will like to marry someone else? If Krishna is on the planet, which girl would like to marry another person? They'll all like to aspire for Krishna as their husband. So Rukmini wrote a letter to Krishna, please come and kidnap me. And she gave the plan and Krishna came and Krishna accepted it. So hearing. Rukmini could capture Krishna in her life through hearing of his qualities and name and form. So here if we also see wives of the Brahmanas, they also understood Krishna by hearing from the ladies of Vrindavan, the flower ladies of Vrindavan. They used to broadcast the glories. So hearing of the holy name of the Lord, hearing of the name, fame, pastimes of the Supreme Lord is the beginning of devotional service. And also it is going to help us gradually in perfection as well. So hearing continues throughout the process. Although any one of the 9 processes are perfect in itself, sufficient in itself, but still hearing is the first. Hearing is the first, and hearing plays a very important role. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. By chanting of the holy name of the Lord, one's heart is cleaned of material conception of life. So when the dirt is cleansed from one's heart, what happens? One realizes the form of the Lord. And heart is cleansed by hearing the names of the Lord, by His glories. And what happens? One starts realizing the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then by hearing more and more, he comes to the platform of understanding the Lord's personal form. And gradually, he develops a certain, when one hears and hears and hears, then one develops attraction for one particular incarnation of the Lord. And then, when one gradually advances and starts hearing about the one particular incarnation, then gradually he develops a particular attachment to the Lord in particular rasa. And then that devotee wants to hear morely only about that particular rasa, with that relationship of that particular rasa with the Lord. So that is how hearing is a continuous process. It goes on till perfection. It is never that hearing is we need to stop hearing. No, I am now 30 years or 40 years in the moment, I need to stop hearing. I have heard enough. No, it's not like that. Hearing of the Lord's glory, His name and form and pastimes needs to be continued to eternity. Shukadeva Goswami, he was a perfected soul. When he came out from the womb of his mother, he got attracted to 2 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he returned to hear the entire Srimad Bhagavatam from his father. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental. Srimad Bhagavatam is glorious. So, hearing from the text Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the most important process of hearing. What is Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam is full of transcendental chanting of the holy name. And therefore, chanting and hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam are transcendently full of mellows. So the great devotees like Shukadeva Goswami have spoken it. For whom? For the benefit of the people of Kali Yuga. Vedavyasji wrote Srimad Bhagavatam and he was looking for an appropriate person. Who will broadcast these glories of Srimad Bhagavatam? Who will do that? Because he wrote Vedas and he entrusted those Vedas to some of his disciples. He wrote Itihas and Puranas and he gave it to someone, Romaharshan Sutta. But when the Bhagavatam was compiled under the direction of Narada Muni, he was looking and he was finding nobody is there. So he prayed. So Vedavyasji prayed to the Supreme Lord, and Shukadeva Goswami was born. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is recommending that if one is fortunate enough to hear from the mouths of realized devotees, he is very easily will be able to attain success on the path of devotional service, devotional life. Therefore, hearing about the holy name of the Lord, activities, name, form is essential, and that too from realized devotees. Because one who has no doubt in this whole process, then he can eradicate all your doubts. If one has doubt himself, how can he help others? So by taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, one's all doubts are removed. When one comes in association with a realized soul, then all his doubts are removed, because all the questions are answered. You can ask all your questions to him and get all your doubts cleared, because unless the doubts are there in your heart, one cannot fully surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If the doubts are there in our heart, that's fully surrender will not come. Sharnagati will not come. The doubts had to be removed, and doubts will be removed by Srimad Bhagavatam or by the person of Bhagavata. So characteristics of Bhagavatam and the personality of Godhead are the same. Yes. What is the characteristics of Supreme Lord? It is full knowledge. It is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Same is the characteristics of Srimad Bhagavatam as well. In Bhagavata Mahatmya, it is said something. Bhagavad Mahatmya of Skanda Puran, it says, one should know that whatever transcendental sweet words coming from the mouths of the hearts of those devotees who are attached to Krishna, that is also Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam doesn't mean only which was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. That is Bhagavatam. But what are commentaries which are written by our acharyas, that is also Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada's purport, that is also Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada's purports, they are the essence of writings of all the acharyas. Everything in Prabhupada's purports, he has taken from a particular acharya. In Bhagavad Mahavidyalaya, we have a style of teaching things. We analyze Prabhupada's purports and try to understand where Prabhupada has taken this particular purport from. And when we find that, it is so relishable that Srila Prabhupada has taken this particular thing from this particular acharya. So everything Prabhupada he has given in the purport is coming from the writings of the previous acharya. And he has simplified it to such an extent. English is a very difficult language actually to explain things. But his divine grace has so mercifully, and his quality of explaining things was so nice that he actually delivered the English language also. English language was considered the language of the Mlecchas. But Srila Prabhupada writing Bhagavatam in it, he actually delivered the English language. So Srimad Bhagavatam, although it is written in English language, but it is Bhagavatam, it is the glories of the Lord, and it is glorious. So even sometimes devotees are saying, I don't know Sanskrit. But if they have the understanding, if they can read English, and if they can read Srila Prabhupada's purport, he is also a Mahabhagavata. And that is also Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is our good fortune, that we have this Bhakti-Vedanta purports with us. And whatever transcendental sweet words which are coming from the lips of these great devotees is Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Narad Muni says that without shame he began traveling all over the world and chanting the glories of the Lord. When Narad Muni got darshan in his previous life, when he got darshan of Supreme Lord, what did he do after that? He began traveling all over the world and broadcasting the glories of the Lord. Prabhupada has given a very nice statement there. Very, very interesting line. Prabhupada is, I just don't remember. So, giving up all the formalities of the material world. Giving up all the formalities of the material world, one should broadcast the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what this little boy did. And then he became Narad Muni. So we should be also in our capacity. We should just we have, all of us, we have some abilities to glorify the Lord, to serve the Lord. We should use those abilities in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and broadcast the glories of the Lord. There is a way. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us 4 regulative principles. There are 4 regulative principles given by Srila Prabhupada ji. No mating, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no intoxication. But there are additional 4 regulative principles given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well. Yes, by following these 4 regulative principles, one can very peacefully throughout his life can practice Krishna consciousness. And he can live his entire life broadcasting the glories of the Supreme Lord. How? Kirtaniya Sadahari. But before that Kirtaniya Sadahari, what comes before? There are 4 things. There are 4 regulative principles given by Mahaprabhu. Yes, what are they? Tranadapi suni chena taroriva sahishanama manina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. These are 4 regulative principles for the devotees. Additional. There are 4 which we follow and there are 4 which are additional. So 8. For the beginners, it is, for the beginner people, when they join Krishna consciousness, for them it is, we tell them, no meditating, no. But as they advance, then these 4 regulative principles are added to it. A devotee can very peacefully chant and broadcast the glories of Supreme Lord. He can very peacefully remain as devotees if these 4 regulative principles come in his life. By behaving more humbly, being tolerant, offering respect to everyone, and should not expect honor from others. So, the process of transcendental chanting can be easily performed by anyone, even if one is physically unfit. He might not be born in a Brahmana family or he might be in low class family, but still he can take to the holy name of the Supreme Lord and he can attain perfection. He can elevate himself to a very superior position. So, I like to end in 2 minutes. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one advances perfectly in spiritual life. Why? Why chanting? In this age of Kali, especially in this age of coral hypocrisy, Krishna is very easily available. Kali, the definition of Kali, if you see, Kam Krishnam Lati Dadati iti Kali. Means, in this age of coral hypocrisy, Lord Krishna is easily available. In previous ages, in previous yugas, people were very healthy, intelligent, alert and long-lived. They had natural inclination for yoga, for penance, for study of Vedas, yajnas and so on, and they did not pay any heed to devotion. Previous ages, they did not pay any heed to the devotion. They considered devotion as to be very simplistic, without bhakti. However, liberation was not attained. In the previous ages, people used to undergo rigorous processes for many lifetimes. Decades after decades, life after life, they used to go through rigorous process. But they used to not take shelter of bhakti. But in this age of Kali, in this Kali Yuga, the natural propensity is towards bhakti. Because people in general are not qualified to participate in jnana, yoga and karma. This age is glorious because Kam Krishnam Lati Dadati iti Kali, Krishna is very easily available. Bhakti is the only process by which one can very easily attain Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared in this age to preach the glories of bhakti. And he set proper example for others. There was a lot to be spoken, but I have lost time, so kindly forgive me for that. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Yes. Any questions? Yes, Mataji. That Mataji. He's bringing the mic. That Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful session. So, my question is like in Vrindavan, in the Braj, where Lakshmi Devi is also waiting in the pale when she is doing the austerity, tapasya. Even the demigods don't get the opportunity to enter the Vraj Mandal. Then the conditioned souls of this Kali are getting so easily entered in the Vraj. So this is the mercy, or there isn't any other alternative reason for the same?
It is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada ji, the Vaishnavas, that they bring us to Vrindavan. So it is only, you can say, causeless mercy of the Lord and His devotees that is bringing on here. And a chance, an opportunity is given to us that we can perfect our existence. So let us take this opportunity to fullest. We have taken shelter of we got shelter of this holy dham. So let us take fullest advantage of it and make the best use of it. Any other questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. First of all, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your wonderful lecture.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, you told that we must read Srimad Bhagavatam under the guidance of pure devotee Mahabhagavat. But Prabhu, it is not possible every time for us to sit with a Mahabhagavat and read Bhagavatam. So what does actually it mean to read Srimad Bhagavatam under the guidance of a devotee?
Srila Prabhupada started this Nityam Bhagavata Sevya process. He started this every morning at 8 o'clock. He made sure that in all the ISKCON centers, Srimad Bhagavatam is discussed. And for that to happen, he wrote purport to each and every verse. It is not an easy process to write purport. But because we should get something, we should get to opportunity to speak and discuss, he wrote this elaborate commentaries on that. So this Nityam Bhagavata Sevya, this program of everyday Srimad Bhagavatam is an arrangement which has been made by His Divine Grace, by which all of us can get an opportunity to sit and hear about the Srimad Bhagavatam. And all of us here are representatives of our spiritual masters and our acharyas. So we should try our best to discuss to the best of our capacity, and all of us can get benefited. So, Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I would like to thank you for this spectacular and wonderful lecture. So my question is, what is meant by hearing in devotion? Is hearing means only hearing lectures or instructions given by elders, or hearing also means that reading self?
Reading also is a kind of hearing, because when you read, you also hear. But the best is, the preferred is to sit in the association of devotees and hear Harikatha. Narad Muni, he says, Vasudevarpanam Sakshat Upasita Mahamuni. He gives the specific instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Upasita Mahamuni, go and sit in the association of devotees and hear. Then further he says, how much to hear? Yudhishthira Maharaj asking, how much to hear? He said, again and again, more and more we should hear. So answer is the same. That hearing means hearing about Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, and also that hearing increases your taste. It increases your taste for reading also. So when you read, you will understand what you have heard. So that helps to dive deep in Srimad Bhagavatam. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Mahaprasad ki jai.